Welcome back to the Always Reading Book Club. It is your girl Kiki Reader, and we're going to do a standalone today by a not a new author, but a new author to this channel, Kimmy Loth, and the name of the book is called Snowfall and Secrets. We meet Tess, and she has just landed in Michigan, and it's winter. She has accepted a gig teaching. So she's from Florida, South Florida, by the way, Miami. She's 25, and she just up and left. She looks at her phone. She's got like 20 missed calls between her mother and her sister. We can clearly see she's running from something. We just don't know what exactly that is just yet. So she gets off the plane, and it is beyond freezing. Now, she did buy winter gear the best that she could in Miami, but I doubt very seriously that they were going to have the type of actual clothing she was going to need in a Michigan winter. So she's absolutely freezing. She's waiting for her luggage, and someone taps her on her shoulder. Of course, tall, dark, and handsome. She's thinking, oh my gosh, is this my boss? Because if it is, I'm in trouble. So she asks if he was Dr. Jorgensen, and he says, no, I'm Lucas. I'm your landlord. So the doctor, he says, doesn't really come off the island during the winter. So he sent Lucas to come and get her. So Lucas is like, is this all you brought? Like, you don't have a heavier coat? She's like, I mean, I got the best stuff that I could, in Florida. And he's like, well, you'll just have to wait until the shops open back up on the mainland, in order for you to be able to get like a heavier coat and stuff. So even though she had gloves on, they weren't like thick gloves, they were more like stylish ones. And he was kind of like, you're going to wind up losing a finger. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, what have I walked into? We then switch to Lucas's POV, and I love when books do that. So he, of course, is thinking, this girl's gonna last like a week, and then she's gonna be on her way back to Miami. So he's asking her, did she get snow pants? She's like, I don't ski. Why would I need to get those? So this is a different type of beast, okay? It's 20 below the wind chill, okay? And so he has some hand warmers, so he gives her those. He actually winds up giving her his snow pants because he had on like some undergarments on underneath his pants that he already had, and then he had the snow pants on. So he figured, okay, he can probably last, getting her to back to, where she's going to be staying. He told her, you're going to have to like buy wool socks and things like that, as soon as you can. So they get on the snowmobile because, yes, that's how they have to get around because the lake is frozen. And he had told her to try and like put on her, like she had like a bunch of jeans and stuff. So he tried to have her put like a few pair of those on, but the problem was they were tight. So she couldn't do it. So it was like one pair of jeans she could put on and like maybe some tights, and that was it. So he's like, okay, that's when he just gave her his snow pants because he's like, you're not going to survive. So he, of course, is thinking he finds her attractive. He says, she definitely looks like she's from South Florida. Like she would be in a bikini somewhere. Like that looks like what she would wear. And desire crept up a little bit. He had anticipated that. Because he's been kind of isolated himself. So his reaction to her shocked him, even shocked himself. We switch back to Tess. We find out exactly where she is. It's called Mackinac Island. I hope I'm saying that right. It sets in Lake Huron, about 3 miles away from the mainland of Michigan. So the ride was pretty smooth at first on the lake with the ice, and then it got bumpy, and that's when old girl got a little nervous. So they get to the house, which is a really nice house, really nice home, And he tells her, we'll stop at my place first, because he had some clothes that she could use until she was able to buy some more for herself. So he's got a dog named Dio, and it's a Greek name. And we find out him and his college buddies 3 years ago, everyone, like at that point, everyone had gotten a Doberman. So when they were in college, the Doberman that they had died before they graduated. So they had said at one point that they would, all get a Doberman. So of course she's asking, well, why did you wait so long? And he, of course, is like, you ask too many questions. So we find out that's kind of like her teaching method, is she likes to ask her kids questions, kind of pull the answers out of them. That's her method. And it's worked really, really well for her. And so, of course, he didn't feel like going into any more of it. So he didn't tell her the rest of the story of why it took them so long to get the Dobermans. And so she's looking around. His home is big, it's really neat. And she goes, where's your wife? And he says, I'm not married. And then she goes, are you gay? And he's like, wow, so straight men can't be clean? And I'm just like, come on, girl. Like, how many people have you been around? Like, I've been around men that are clean. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, how is that your first thought process that you go to? um, so anyway, he gets some boxes of clothes that belong to his ex-wife Stacy. She apparently moved to California and she left stuff there. She told him to get rid of it, but he was afraid um to do it until the divorce was finalized. And then once the divorce got finalized, in all honesty, he just forgot about it. He meant to donate it, but he really just forgot about it. Thankfully, there were snow boots in there, different things that fit her. So he gave her a couple of boxes and told her she could take it to the carriage house. So then the dog comes up, Dio, which I think is a really cute name. When I get a dog, I feel like I might use that. That is so cute to me. So the carriage house is a lot bigger than what she had anticipated. It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. He gives her a little tour. He tells her normally his friends come, they bring their girlfriends or, their significant others, and they use this place. So when she opens the master bedroom, there's like this whole romantic setting of like champagne, rose petals. And he explained to her that the housekeeper probably thought, that it was one of his friends that was going to be coming by, because he just said to get the carriage house ready. Um, so she tells him, well, you can take the champagne. And he's like, you don't drink? And she's like, I stopped about a month ago since I make pretty bad decisions when I drink. And he's just like, okay, you know, what bad decision did you make? And she's like, now who's being nosy? So he leaves and we find out what happened to her. So over a month ago, she went to a house party, woke up. I'm assuming she was blacked out. She doesn't remember anything, but she went about 8 or 9 days where she was late. And so she went to the doctor, and yes, she is pregnant. So to me, the mere fact that she doesn't remember anything, I'm like, okay, did you get that blacked out drunk? Or did someone do something to you? Because that's kind of crazy for you not to remember anything. That's crazy. So she was like, that's her dilemma she found herself in. That's why she ran away. She didn't want to tell her mom. She just wanted to run far away. And so that's what she did. We switched back to Lucas, and he still had a lot of stuff of Stacy's there. And he was like, I need to put this crap back up. And then he sees stuff from his boys. So we don't know if his children are alive, if they're dead. Like, we have no idea. We just know Stacy moved to California. He apparently says to himself that he isn't great with kids, and basically he wasn't going to ever have any again. So, again, We don't know what the situation is. If he lost custody, we have no idea. So he has a little secret we want to find out about. So he gets a call from Doc, and he's just thinking about, he's thanking him, I'm sorry, for helping Tess and all this type of stuff. And he feels like um, Lucas feels like he needs to stay away from her. Like she's kind of dangerous, to him. He's like, she has curves in all the right places, nice long legs, like, beautiful face. He's like, no, I do not need to get my heart involved in anything. And you already know when they make that dumbass statement, that's when they are going to be fucked. We switch back to Tess. They threw her a little breakfast. It was really nice. At the school. And then on her lunch break, some guy comes up to her. His name's Chris Whittier. He's the language arts teacher. And he's a fucking jerk. He's like, oh, you're hot. Da 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 da. You're feisty. All this type of crap. So she went into her classroom, and because she teaches, I think, both third and fourth grade. And so one of the other teachers, Sarah Chambers, comes over, to check on her. And clearly she saw that she was about to cry, and, she just hugged her. And the woman told her, you know, you must have met Chris. He's a mess. We just stay clear of him. We didn't even invite him to the breakfast this morning because we know he's a problem. So they keep him around because the guy knows his Shakespeare, but he hasn't been inappropriate, let me say it correctly. He has not been inappropriate with any students. So they just leave him there. And she, of course, is like, that's crappy because, it's still fucked up. The teacher shouldn't have to deal with that crap. At the same time, she's not really trying to, like, step on any toes. So she kind of keeps that to herself. So she feels like after talking to Sarah for a couple minutes, like she might have just made, a new friend. We switch back to Lucas's POV, and we find out that he has a fudge shop. Apparently, his family has owned this for generations. So his parents actually leave during the winter. They do not stay there. He stays, and so does his housekeeper, Estelle. So Estelle's older, and she helps out during the winter. And her family would like for her to come back, move to Georgia permanently, or at least if she's not going to do it permanently, just come and visit them during the winter months. But she prefers to stay up in Michigan on the island. So she, of course, asks how his friends are doing. He tells her, and tells her about the new renter. She's a teacher and all this type of stuff. And she deduces that it's a woman. And she starts telling him, you can't torture yourself forever. And she tells him, you really need to stop with this self-imposed exile. So again, something happened. We just don't know what it is. So she tells him that give her some of your fudge. That's the best one that we have. And he's like, well, she got plenty of fudge, from all the other teachers and stuff, because they fully stocked her refrigerator and then left her a basket full of fudge and goodies and stuff like that, which I thought was really, really sweet. Um, so the reason he's at the fudge shop is because they have an online business. And so during the winter, that's when a lot of their online sales, of course, picks up, because no one's going to track the snow to get there. So that's what he came in to do, to print out the orders, to make it easier for Estelle, because she doesn't like playing with computers. If it's an internet involved, she doesn't want to rock with it. So he does it for her so she knows what to make. And then he sticks around a little bit, but then she kind of kicks him out because she's like, she knows how to do this, you can go. So he does take her advice, and he takes a box of his own fudge. We switch back to Tess. She comes home. She's got a headache. It was a lot going on that day. She's really pissed off. She's got an attitude. And what really bothers her is that everyone knows the situation with Chris, but no one's doing anything about it. Um, and the fact that Doc and different ones are telling her just don't mind him, X, Y, and Z, it's just it pisses her off. So she's eating some peanut butter. She gets a knock on the door. Of course, it's Lucas, and she kind of biting his head off a little bit. And I'm like, okay, you're pissed off about what happened with the Chris guy, but you're taking it off at him, and he hasn't done anything to you. Unless you just wanted to be alone and you're annoyed that he's there, that's different. But he hasn't done anything to you. So I was kind of like, kind of fuck her at that moment. Um, so he's told her that Estelle apologized for leaving the roses and stuff like that, and then she felt stupid. Um, and it was just crazy because it was like all she had he was being nice to her, and she was just being an asshole. And then another part of the reason she's upset is because she's attracted to him, and she doesn't want to be because that's going to cause a problem for her. So that makes her upset. But again, that's not his fault. So you should treat him like shit. But anyway, he left her the box of fudge. I think he said it was from Estelle too. Next day, Lucas kind of wanted to follow her to school to see like who fucked with her. He had a feeling it was the Chris Whittier dude, but he didn't want to come across as like a stalker, so he just stayed inside of his house. He saw Estelle come up. He saw them both outside talking, Estelle and Tess, and he's waiting for Tess to leave. And then once she left, then he came out and brought Dio out. And what's her name? Estelle was kind of like, why did you tell her that I was sorry about the flowers? You know? And so she started throwing snowballs at him and stuff. So then his friend Hayden, who is one of his frat brothers, he's also Doc's son. He called him and he's like, we're going to come down this weekend and we're going to clear out that, or next weekend, I think he said, and we're going to clear out that room with Stacy and the boys' stuff. And Lucas is like, no, we're not going to do that right now, X, Y, and Z. And he's like, nope, we're coming down, we're getting it done. And then he hangs up. That's it. So he opens up his laptop, and on his laptop is a screensaver of the boys. And he just says how they had deserved so much better than him as a father. So it's been a week or so. She only has, I think, 12 kids in her class. It's more demanding than she thought. She has made a friend with a couple of the teachers, especially Sarah. Um, they took her downtown to the island downtown to the little shops that were still open. And one woman kind of said something crazy to her, was just kind of like, be careful when it comes to Lucas. And didn't say too much besides that. And she just kept going on, with her cart. She goes home. She calls her mother back because her mother had been blowing her phone up every day. And her mom was like, how are you? I thought you were frozen to death. She's like, I emailed you. She's like, that's not the same as me hearing your voice. And her mother, of course, is like, why won't you just come back? Her mother tells her a teacher just quit. I've got a great job that you can take, great position. And she's like, Miami's just not good for me, you know? And her mom's like, you make it not good for you because of some of the choices you make. So, of course, she has no intention of telling her mother that she's pregnant. She has no intention of going back to Miami. Um, it's just not going to happen. So she gets off the phone with her mother. She hears a thud at the door. It's Dio. He comes rushing in. She calls Lucas to let him know the dog's over there. And he's like, I'm in the middle of something. Give me like 20 minutes and I'll come and get him. And she's like, that's fine, because she likes the dog and the dog loves her too. So she's fine. So then Lucas goes to get Dio, and it's funny because on his way over there, he was thinking about, like, kind of wondering if if she had someone. He's like, because honestly, if I had someone like her, like, I wouldn't let her out of my sight. So again, that's why I said, when you start with that, oh, I need to stay with girl, you already fucked. Because, dude, you already want her. So he goes, knocks on the door, no answer. The door's open. Well, it's unlocked, shall we say. So he opens the door. He's calling out their names, doesn't hear anything. So he finds them on the couch. They're both asleep. He tried to just wake up the dog, but Dio was not trying to leave. So then she wound up stirring, and he was like, I was just trying to get the dog. He's like, I wasn't trying to wake you up. And he asked her how her first week was. Was it better than the first day? Um, she said, the kids are really sweet. Her stomach growled, and he said, well, I'm about to eat dinner, and I made a lot. I always make more than enough, so you're more than welcome to join us. And she was like, I don't want to impose. And he's like, you won't be. He's like, the dog clearly loves you. So he's like, come on. So she's like, okay. She went over to his place. He made chicken parmesan, a lot of it. She's like, oh my gosh, what are you trying to feed? And he's like, well, I only like to have to cook like once a week. So that's why I make so much. And she's like, oh, well, then I won't eat that much. He was like, no, I have plenty. Like, eat as much as you want. And he says, besides, you'll just owe me dinner next week. And she's like, okay, that's fine. So she sits down. She asks about the whole dog thing. And he's like, you're going to think I'm a real douchebag if I tell you the story. But he still tells her. So basically, they're in like this super secretive fraternity. And it's supposed to be one of the ones that like churns out the most millionaires, right, in the country. So they made a pact that when they made their first million on their own, not with any help from their parents, on their own. When they made it, they would buy a Doberman. So as they buy each one, they have the different Greek names. So his is Dio, and so I think he was like the second person to get the dog. So that's what all of the names are based on. And he thought she was going to judge him for it, but she didn't. She thought it actually was really neat, that that they would do something like that. Um he asked her about herself, and she told him her mother is the superintendent of schools in Miami-Dade, and that she had set her up with a really great job at a really great school, and she, like anyone else, wanted to do it on her own. Doesn't go into more detail than that. um she kind of thought she had a thought that upset her. Clearly he's well off, and the first thought she thought was, if I seduce him, I can make him think the kid is his, and the child will be taken care of because he clearly has the money. And then she felt so awful for having that thought. And I was kind of like, and you should. Because you thought about trying to trick someone, even though what she describes that happened to her, I think it was a lot worse than what she thinks. But that still doesn't mean you should go and you should trick somebody else. I don't think that's right. So I was like, she shit for that. So I was glad she did feel bad about the thought because it was fucked up. So she says, okay, well, it's time for me to go. And he, of course, is like, no, I can make some coffee. She's like, no, I need to go. She has an appointment, with the doctor, and she didn't tell him she had an appointment with the doctor, but she was thinking, next week is her appointment, and she, needs to get some more options about what exactly she's going to do. She's thinking about going the adoption route, or possibly terminate. She does think if she does that, either one of those options, she never has to tell her mother. So the next day he goes out, he's chopping wood, And he owns a few properties on the island. And so one of his tenants needs some wood, and so he goes outside to chop it. Dio heads out, runs right for. He likes the horses, so these are winter taxis, but they're you know taken by horses. And Dio loves the horses, so he's just kind of like, oh, these PTA moms, because that's who is in the winter taxi. And he's just kind of like, I wonder what crap they've already told her, especially with the way she like abruptly left the night before. He's like, he wonders what kind of bullshit they've told her. So anyway, they left and she comes out. Dio completely forgets about the horses. He loves Tess, so he runs straight to her, goes inside with her, and then she comes back out with some coffee for Lucas, and he, of course, absolutely loves the fact that she did that. She apologized to him for leaving out so rudely, and she says next time, he doesn't even hear what she says because his mind's going dirty places, and then he's like, oh my gosh, I need to get it together, I'm tripping. She deserves so much better than me. So Tess goes to her doctor's appointment. The doctor is Dr. Jorgensen. So her name is Marie, and she's the actual doctor. So it's like this running joke on the island. They call her Marie, and they call him Doc. It's weird. Um, so her first thought was to lie as to why she was visiting the doctor, but because she was thinking like, this is his wife. What if she tells him? And Doc Jorgensen at the school likes to gossip, and she doesn't want stuff getting out, so she thought about lying, but she didn't. She blurted out, I'm pregnant. She was ready to release it to someone, and so Dr. Marie was just kind of like, okay, well, let's confirm it. So she had her pee in a cup. They confirmed it. She is pregnant, because she knew. She's like, I conceived on the 15th. The doctor was like, what did she tell her? I don't have an appointment for a little while. You can stay and have lunch. So the doctor could tell, okay, clearly this wasn't something long term because you knew the actual date. So she asked her, like, so do you know who the father is? And so she told her what happened. And the first thought she had was, oh my gosh, here comes the judgment. And Dr. Marie says, it sounds like you were RAPED'd. She's like, if you woke up and you don't know what happened, did you drink a lot? She's like, if you can't remember anything, she's like, someone probably put something in your drink. And she was like, oh, like she hadn't even thought about that. She just thought for sure she had messed up again. She had made some stupid decision, and this is what happened. Um, but like the doctor told her, I keep secrets. That's what I do all over this island. And to an extent, I'm like, yes, she could keep secrets. Medical stuff she can't tell nobody, but if you tell her personal shit, she can tell. So we'll see if she holds true to it. Lucas takes the wood over to the chopped up wood to Mr. Chapman's, and Mr. Chapman is actually the uncle of Chris Whittier, and that's who Chris stays with. So Chapman had been in a car accident. He got hurt really badly, and that's actually what propelled him to move to the island because he's now completely anti-vehicle. And Lucas can't stand his nephew, doesn't like him. He's like, the old guy's okay. He gives him a break on the rent and stuff like that, but he cannot stand Chris. So then Chris comes out, and the Chapman guy he's like, help, Lucas unload the chopped wood. So they're doing it, and then the Chris guy, of course, is like, I hear you got a hot new teach next door to you, and all this type of crap. And he just keeps going and going, and of course it pisses Lucas off. He already didn't like the guy, and now he knows this is the reason that she was pissed off on the first day. So before he knows it, he winds up punching him. And then the guy was like, what the hell? Like, what'd you do that for, you know? And he even after he got punched, he still was like, she should be used to the attention. I'm like, wow. Like, this guy is like the biggest dick ever. Um, so then the Chapman guy, because Lucas was like, I'll give you, a month off of rent or something. And he said, that's okay. Chapman said he had it coming to him. And I said, damn, even his, his uncle knows he's a piece of shit. Her and Dr. Marie continue to talk. And Dr. Marie asked if she had told her mother. And she was like, nope. Hadn't planned on doing that. And, Dr. Marie was like, you really should. You should tell your mother, you know, it's, this is not going to be an easy thing and you will need their support. And she's like, yeah, but then she'll try and make me move back home and I just don't want to do it. And she's made up her mind about that. So Dr. Marie tells her that her boys are coming over for the weekend and she wants her to come over. And she's like, you really want me to come over, knowing what the situation is? And Dr. Marie says, I don't think you're a bad person. You got a good head on your shoulders. You're independent. You'll be great for my boys. And so she goes to the grocery store. She comes back home and Lucas is outside with Dio. They're playing. He's throwing snowballs and stuff. And so he comes up, asks her, you're home early. And she's like, yeah, I had an appointment. And he, of course, is like, well, what kind? And she's like, none of your business. And then she's like, I'm sorry, I had a doctor's appointment. So, of course, um, she told him about Dr. Marie inviting her over for dinner with her sons. And he tells her, yeah, I got a feeling what she's up to because she wants a grandbaby, and she wants it bad. So at first she's thinking like, oh my gosh, how does he know about this? But it's clearly not that. It's just that she wants her sons to be with a good woman, and she feels like that's what Tess is. So they're inside the house. He helped her carry in the groceries and stuff like that. And we find out he's a little worried about this because Hayden is one of his friends. That's Marie's son. And he feels like Hayden would be better for her, but he wants her. So he's thinking about, should he make a move on her now? But then he cowers out. And when he left from her place, he calls Marie and lies and says, oh, Hayden asked me if I could crash the dinner on Friday. Is that okay? I just wanted to make sure. And Dr. Marie's not dumb. She knew it. But she just tells him, you're always welcome. And then she says, this wouldn't have anything to do with the pretty brunette now, would it? And he was like, he knew it. He got it bad. Um, I'm like, at least he admits it to himself and he's not in that whole, I don't feel anything. I don't want, at least he's not like that. He knows something is clearly going on with me. I clearly want this woman. And he is trying to run interference on any type of hookups with her and Dr. Marie's boys. It's Friday night. Lucas comes to pick her up. She's running a little late. She answered the door in a robe and she got ready. She's like, basically, he says to her, it doesn't matter what you put on, you're sexy and everything. So she goes, gets on an outfit, and Hayden's gonna have his dog, and her name's Una. So I think, what is Una? She must be number one. Yeah, I think she's number one because Dio's number two. So she's like, all right. So she gets over there. The two dogs are fighting over a toy. Um, she gets introduced to the boys, Hayden and Joshua. Lucas is just not liking this stuff. Like, he is really kind of pissed. And Hayden looks at her and goes, "Oh my God, you are stunning." And Lucas moves closer to her when Hayden says this. And so Lucas makes a comment to Hayden. Um, he made some type of comment about something like she's not gonna leave with you or some crap like that. And Tess is kind of like, I never said I was leaving. I was gonna be in anyone else's bed but my own, you know. So it was kind of cute because she also stepped away. And when Lucas like stepped towards her after Hayden made that comment, she like stepped away, and I'm just like, this is funny. But I like her comeback. Those were really good comebacks to the guys. I loved it. Lucas and Hayden leave, go in the living room, and Lucas was kind of like apologetic for what he did, but at the same time, Hayden's like, "Oh, you got it bad." He's like, "Clearly you like her, you know?" And Lucas says, "But you would be better for her and all this type of crap." And Hayden's like, "Don't do that with me. Like, stop the whole beating up on yourself. You made a mistake. You suffered an awful consequence. It doesn't mean you don't deserve love again. Like, you got to stop doing that to yourself." He's like, "I'm not going to make a move on her. Like, I know you like her." He's like, "And I wouldn't do that to you." So then Tess comes around the corner, says dinner's ready. Hayden opens his mouth and says, um, what did he say? Something. He made some type of comment. And it was something about the earlier conversation, her accepting his offer, and she is like, "I don't remember saying I was accepting anybody's offer," and she turns around and leaves. So then they have a good time, they have dessert, and then Lucas was kind of like, she only gets her boys a few times a year, maybe we should give them some time together. And of course Tess is like, "Oh great, sure." So they left, and when they were outside, he asked her if he could take her someplace really special to him. And she says, okay. So he takes her to the Grand Hotel, where there's like this spectacular view of the moon. And they go, and she, what did she do? She gave a hug and a kiss to Marie. And Marie, this was before she left, I'm sorry. And Marie said, "Be careful with him, because my boys can recover. He doesn't recover that good." So again, it was kind of like letting her know, though, like, not that he's going to hurt you, like, you have the power to hurt him. So they get to the place. It's absolutely beautiful. They were about to kiss, and then Dio was chasing a rabbit and came in between them and broke up the moment. So then he takes her back to her place, and he reminds her again about the blizzard. So Doc had told her during dinner that there was a blizzard coming, and like she needed to like stock up for at least a week of stuff. So Lucas was kind of like, "I can come and take you in the morning so you can get a few things. And even though she could arrange her own ride, she wanted to be around him. And he makes her feel all jelly inside. And so he kissed her on the cheek, good night. And she of course was like, okay, she'll be ready. And the only thing she could think about was how those lips would feel on her lips. So the next morning, he's at her door, 7:45 in the morning. Um, he beat himself up because he's like, he had two chances to make a move and he fucked up. She opens the door and she looks awful. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I will be." And he's like, "I don't think it was anything Marie made because I'm not sick. And she's like, "No, no, no, I don't think that either. I think, just being around the kids, probably just like a little 24-hour bug or whatever." So they go to the store. He gets two of everything. When they get time to pay for it, she was kind of fumbling with her wallet, and he says, "I'll take care of it." And she didn't fight him. So then he knew, oh, she's sick. So, because she's fiercely independent. So they leave from there. He just tells her, hold on to me. If you have to throw up, tap me on the shoulder, let me know so I can let you throw up. Don't fall off. So she never tapped him. She didn't fall off. He put everything up, separated it, put it up, and then she went, curled up on the couch, and he's like, you don't want to stay on the couch. You need to get more comfortable. And he's helping her down the hallway. She throws up. She's so mortified. He's like, it's okay. He takes her to the bathroom, gives her some water. He's like, I'm going to clean everything up. You just change and get in your bed. And so she's changing. And by the time he gets done cleaning up, she's already knocked out. And he's thinking, of course, so much for making a move. But he was definitely going to come back and check on her that evening just to make sure, that she was okay. Hayden pops up. Hayden was ready to get this stuff out. He's like, you don't need this stuff here anymore. He's like, you can leave some stuff. That's the boys. You can keep some of their stuff, but the rest of this stuff has got to go. He's like, I saw how you were looking at Tess. You need a new start. We got to do this. And so he gets everything up. Estelle came. Joshua came. Um, Estelle told him, get one box. Don't look in it. And just keep it. And put it in the closet. And she said, someday you'll be thankful you have it. And Doc wanted them to come over for lunch and to bring Tess, but he's like, she's sick. And he's like, no, 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 she's like really sick. And he said he'll probably ask Marie to probably come and check on her. Um, because so like it's legit, she really doesn't feel well. So then Tess wakes up, she's feeling better. She was woken out of her sleep by a phone call from Marie, and Marie was like, he told me what happened, and she's like, I want to make it up to him, like, what can I get him? And she's like, well, he likes brownies. He likes fudge brownies. If you got chocolate chips, put them in there, and if you got frosting, put it on top. That's how he likes them. She's like, okay, I have it. I'll make some. So she makes them, takes them over to his home, but he's not there. She didn't want to leave him on the porch, so she took him back home, cut a piece out, found Grey's Anatomy to watch on Netflix, got hungry again, ate more brownies, passed out. So then she wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning and she's freezing. It's dark, power's out, fireplace won't work. So she calls Lucas. He gets up, comes over, checks the fireplace, says it's broken. He's like, you just have to come over with me. So he's like, get enough stuff for a few days, couple days, and once it's, done, we'll be able to come back to your house. So while she's getting her stuff, he sees the brownies. There's only one left. He's like, why is it just one left? And she's like, I got hungry. He's like, don't worry. You can make it at my house. I got all the ingredients. Um, so then they go. He has two fireplaces, one in the living room, which is a real one, and the other one in his room, which is like a gas one. So the one in his bedroom is working well, but the one downstairs, because it's real, it takes a while, and then you got to keep feeding it wood. So guess where she's gonna wind up sleeping? In the big bed with him. He tells her, Dio is going to sleep in between us. It'll be fine. He's like, tomorrow we'll figure out a more permanent arrangement. And she wasn't worried about him. She was worried about being able to trust her trust herself. So we find out that Lucas's ass lied. All the girl had to do was flip the damn switch and her fucking heater would have came on. I was like, he's so awful. Also, he lied. There's an air mattress in his closet that he could have either given her to sleep on or he could have slept on. I was like, oh my gosh, but he wanted her company. Sure enough, the dog was right in the middle of them when they went to sleep. He woke up, her hand was on his face. She was asleep. She did it in error. He got up and he also saw her shirt when her hand was on his face, and he saw a little bump, but he just thought, you know what, I like that she's not so crazy about trying to stay extra thin because his ex-wife Stacy was all about being incredibly thin, and if she wasn't, she'd flip out, and it was this whole thing. So it was just comforting to know that. So he took a hot shower. Um, she got up, looked out the window, and she couldn't see her house. The snow was that damn high. So they had said it was going to be between 8 and 12 feet high. And sure enough, it was. She's like, how long is it going to take for that to melt? He said, probably a couple months. He's like, but we'll be able to get in like a few days, at least, carve a way in there. And she's like, oh my gosh. So, he was going downstairs to get that fireplace going in the living room. And he was telling her about her touching him and how, she does things when she's not conscious and her face changes and he doesn't know why she's doing that. Um, because again, he doesn't know what happened to her, but clearly it's like something happened for her face to change that fast, something happened. We switch back to Tess and she knows she overreacted, but it was just, here's the thing, when people go through things, people have triggers, and that's just what it is. So unfortunately, that's what happened with her face. So she goes, she sits with him. He gives her a compliment again and says how beautiful she looks. Because she has like her hair wet and stuff like that. Because there's no heat, but they have a gas stove and stuff. And so she's like, you really like to boost my ego. And he says, well, let me make some calls because they have a phone tree. So basically, everyone calls three people basically to check on everyone, make sure everyone's okay. And if someone isn't, or if they don't answer, then they know to kind of send a rescue squad over to them. And I think that was like, that's really sweet. That's nice. So then Marie called Tess, calling to check on her. And she was going to make breakfast for him, bacon, eggs, pancakes, brownies, whatever you wanted. And he's like, I was just joking. She's like, listen, you saved me so many different times. The least I can do is make you whatever you want for breakfast. So then she was starting to make the stuff, and she's talking to Marie. And Marie's like, oh, so you're at his place. Hopefully you'll have a little fun. And I thought it was super sweet. She needs this, the little girlfriend talk. Sarah called her too to check up on her and stuff like that. Her mom called freaking out, saying, oh my gosh, the news is saying it's 6 feet tall. I'm like, if she really saw what it was, she really would freak out. She heard Lucas's voice in the background because he came in the room. And she's like, are you with a man? She's like, really? Is that what you're doing? You're sleeping with some stranger? And I was like, damn. Like, your mother goes in hard. And she tells her mom, yeah, mom, that's what I'm doing. I knew a storm was coming and I just had to find some random person to fuck. You know? I mean, I don't know if she has a history of fucking random dudes. Maybe that's why but even then, why say that to her? She's still an adult. The girl can fuck whoever she wants. Let's be very clear. But why say that to her? Do you think that's going to compel her to move back to Miami or alienate her even more? So the mother's dumb to me for making that stupid fucking statement. It, of course, hurt the girl's feelings. She got off the phone pretty quickly. I mean, why would she want to stay on the phone and keep hearing stupid shit? Even though her mom was like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. No, bitch, you meant it like that. That's why it came out that way. Because you fucking meant it that way. Oh, parents. Before she gets off the phone, though, she does say to her mother, no, my landlord was kind enough to let me stay with him because my fireplace broke. And she was like, and I'm repaying him by making him breakfast. And she got off the phone after that. Lucas says to her, it doesn't matter what your mom thinks. It's about what you think, and you're not that. So then she gets pissy at him, and she goes, you don't know me. And I'm like, see, this is the problem. You don't handle shit the way you should, and now you're taking it out on him, and he's just trying to say something kind to you. Now, this is where she annoys me, and this is when I don't feel sorry for her that her mother went in on her ass. This is when I don't care because you keep taking shit out on the wrong people. He begins to tell her all of the things that he's learned of her since she's been there. You know, how wonderful Doc says she is with the kids, how she has no problem helping people, showing kindness and things like that. And she says to him, I wish you could tell my mom that same stuff. And he says, give me your phone, I'll call her and tell her. And she says, no, I need to be able to handle that myself. So then they basically have a free day. There's no electricity, so he's like, what do you want to do? She loves to read. He's like, that's so isolated. You like to play games? And she goes, she does. So he takes her to her library, huge, tons of books, first editions, right? So she pulls out Harry Potter to read, and he's like, he'd never read it. Um, he had read Jane Austen's Persuasion, but he's like, let's pick something shorter. He's like, let's pick a Jane Austen novel or something. The Harry Potter, I'll read that on my own. And then they're going to play a game called Risk. She makes the brownies, and while she's making the brownies, she decides, no, I said that wrong. He decides he's going to taste it. So he sticks his finger in there, and she's like, you can't do that. She's like, if anyone should taste it, it should be me. So then he puts his finger out. She licks it a couple of times. Then she takes a spoon and she puts some brownie mix on her lip. And he licks it off. And then they have this extremely passionate kiss. So then she put the brownies in the oven. They went back. And she thought they were going to like keep making out. He's like, okay, read to me. So he massages her feet while she reads to him. She has a ticklish spot. And then he asks her something about if she knew how to ballroom dance. And we find out he knows how to do it. Because in college he took an elective and wound up being like a really hard class. So he teaches her how to ballroom dance. So she's falling, he's falling. They're just all falling together. So she beat him at Risk, which never happens. So he, of course, is going to want to rematch another day. She was honest. He had saw fear in her eyes when she explained, what did she say? She said something about like she falls for like the pretty face guys. They get what they want from her and then they're gone after that. And so he says, well, do you want to take things slow? And then I thought, well, maybe that's why her mom was trying to call her, like, say that to her. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, okay. But she still didn't have to call her daughter out and say that to her. I'm just saying. It's already fragile. Like, I'm just saying, I wouldn't think to say that. But anyway, he tells her we can go slow. He said if we do it tonight, if we do it in 6 months, we'll just let it happen naturally. And she was thankful for that. So then they watch a movie. She picks a scary movie. She used to like to watch these, but not by herself. And it worked for him because she was snuggled up against him. But she spent most of her time with her head ducked because she was too scared. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, girl, why'd you even pick it? But, she knows now that might not be the best thing for her. Because she admits she barely watches them. And it's probably been like 7 or 8 years since she really watched one. So she realizes she no longer can hang. So then they go upstairs and he tells her she can pick out another room or they can have the same arrangement with Dio sleeping in between them. And he tells her, I'm not going to try anything. The problem to her was if he does do something, she knows she's going to cave. And she's afraid of what secrets she's going to tell him. So she's still trying to keep a little distance. She goes and takes a shower and she's just like, okay, we'll see what happens. She comes out. He's got his pajama bottoms on, no shirt. So all she sees is abs and that V cut, and she's like, "Why do you have to like be so damn fine?" And she winds up touching on his abs. She's like, "I've been wanting to do that since the first night," and he, of course, has been wanting her as well. They wind up kissing, and then they fall into bed. So the next morning, she wakes up and she's like, she hopes this is real. You know, she hopes he really does want something with her. And then when he comes down, he says, "Listen," and she goes, "I knew it. I knew it." That's all. That's how the other guys all start out their conversation when they're letting her know that they don't want to see her anymore. And she lost it. She was so upset. She went in the bathroom. She tried to stay in there. He, of course, got in, and he's like, "It's not what you think." He said, "It's just that I can't be with you." And it's like, this is where I'm like, clearly you're dumb. Because she has a history of men telling her that she's not enough. And then you come and tell her, "I can't do this," after you done fucked her. You know? It's like, he fucking stupid. He starts to tell her, it's not like that, you know? And again, the girl has felt thrown away. What else is this going to mean? You know? He was saying he wanted to give her a night to spell special, but again, you're doing it the same shit, just a different way. You want to give her a night of being special, but you still want to throw it away the next day, you know? I'm like, gosh. But we get a little backdrop from her, and we find out when she was younger, she developed really quickly. And they would call her Butterface. He had never heard that term before, and she said it means everything but her face. So when she was 18, 17 or 18, she was a senior in high school, met a 28-year-old guy at the mall. She thought they were in love. She moved in with them, dropped out of school, and of course he became extremely manipulative and abusive, and even physically with her as well. So eventually she wound up moving back home. She got her GED, she went to college, but then she kept finding that she was attracting the same type of man, someone that never treated her like she was worth anything. And this has been a constant problem for her. He tells her, "Do you know what the first thing was that I noticed about you?" And she says, "Yeah, my tits or my ass." He says, "No, it was your eyes." He was like, "And when you smiled, I was a goner." And I'm like, okay, just tell us what the fuck. Like, what are you? I need him to tell, like, what. You say something like that. That is so crazy. Because, like, you tell her you don't want anything serious. Then you tell her, "Oh my gosh, not that you don't want anything serious, you can't have anything serious." Let me say it correctly. Now you're telling her how beautiful she is to you. This is all very conflicting. So finally, I guess as they were talking, he said something about his ex-wife Stacy, but she was, I guess, back on it because once he gave her that compliment, girl was back on trying to fuck. So she starts touching his abs again, and that was it. All she wanted was him at that point. So I was like, see, that's another thing. That's her problem. That's where she's at fault too. Because you need to let him fully spell this whole thing out. We're not just going to go with a couple of compliments. You were saying something different not even 10 minutes ago. I need the full fucking story. But again, she wants what feels good. Next couple of days, they fuck, play games, enjoy each other, relish in it. She gets up, she's hungry, she cooks bacon, he comes in. He says he's got to go into the shop today. She realizes she doesn't even know what he does for a living. Um, she knows he does well for himself because he has this big ass house, And then he says he had, third generation fudge shop that he runs, and he's got to do the online orders, and asked if she and I'm sorry, she asked if she could come with him. He said yes. And then she said, "Oh my gosh, if I eat fudge every day, I'm going to lose all of this." And he says, "I don't care as long as your face stays the same." And then she said something about she might love the fudge more than him. She realizes what she said, but she scurried off to go take a shower, and she's like, hopefully he didn't hear. Well, he heard. And he's like, he's going to have to tell her the full story and let her know that they could never have kids. Like, that's not an option for him again. So they go to the shop. She makes him take off his shirt and just put on his apron. And she's just like, she's got a great view of him. And he knows he's going to have to tell her soon. He asked her if she meant what she said before she went to take a shower, that she loved him. And she said, "I've never been in love. I could have meant it. I'm not really sure if I even really know what it means." And he says, normally when people say that, like that, it's how they feel. And she says, "Well, maybe I do." So then he tells her the story. So this is what happened. He had two boys, 3 years old, 4 years old. He was working a lot. And this particular day, he had put a movie on for them, put them in front of the TV. And he went to working. Well, Dio came barking in the office. He put Dio outside, but Dio kept clawing at the door and everything else. And so eventually he got up, went into the living room, and saw that the other door was open, the back door, and the kids' shoes were left out on the porch, and they were gone. So they drowned. They washed up on shore an hour later. So he's like, there's still people on the island that won't even talk to him. And of course, his marriage with Stacy was done. And so she was like, but that was just a tragic accident. And he says, but I should have just taken them swimming. I should have spent time with them. And because I didn't, they're gone. And here's the thing. Two things can be true at once. Yeah, on both ends. It is your fault. And you should have possibly, and it was an accident. I think it's both. He told her that he never wants to have kids again. He told her he was madly in love with her, but if they're going to be together, she would have to give up motherhood. And if she ever changed her mind, to let him know. And she told him that she can deal with that. Now, this is where she should have fucking told him the truth, but she didn't. They get a call from Marie inviting them over to play canasta, so they're going to go. And when they get there, she goes off to the side and talks with Marie in the other room. Marie wants to know about, if she's told him about the baby and if he's told her about his past. She said he did tell me about his past, and we also find out it was really recent. It was only like 2 years ago that this happened. But she told him she didn't tell him about the baby. And she's thinking about adoption more so. And Marie was just like, he's full of crap. He would still be a great father. He has to forgive himself, and that's a lot easier said than done. She knows that, but he's not a bad person at all. So she asked her if she'd ever played canasta. She said she hadn't, so they taught her. Marie was saying to her, you need to tell somebody. You need to tell your mother, and you need to stop carrying this on your own. Because she's like, just telling me, that's not enough. Like, there's other important people in your life that need to know. So we fast forward 4 weeks. She doesn't really stay at the house, at the carriage house anymore. She stays at Lucas's. She goes to her house just to get enough clothing. Sarah wanted the teachers, Sarah, who's one of the teachers, invited her over for spaghetti night. And she's like, can I bring Lucas? And she, of course, and have him bring Dio, because the boys love him. lover. So then freaking Chris Whittier comes in. He of course spills the beans, and now she knows that Lucas punched his ass. And she called Lucas and was questioning him, all this type of stuff. He admitted, yeah, he was the one that did it. And then she asked him about going to the chambers for dinner and to bring the dog. And he's like, okay, yeah, we can go. They get to the Chambers house, and he kind of tenses up when the three boys come around. Thankfully, Dio kept them pretty occupied, but the youngest child, Carson, he's like 2. He was attached to Tess. He absolutely loved Tess. And that, of course, made Lucas feel like I can't deny her motherhood. He winds up going outside with Gavin, Sarah's husband, to show off his new plow and stuff like that. And then one of the older boys comes out and says Miss Tess is sick. So of course Lucas bolts in the house. She's pale. She said she missed lunch and that's what was wrong with her. He's like, we're taking you to Dr. Marie. So she comes to, because we find out she actually passed out. She really did forget to eat that day, and Maria is, of course, like, you can't do that. Like, that is not an option for you. So she has the gel on her stomach, and Estelle comes in, kind of barges in, and she's like, I'm a woman, I can come in here. So she wants to know if it's, when she sees there's a baby, she's like, is it Lucas's? And she says no, she was pregnant when she came to the island. And she's like, don't tell him, I want to be the one to let him know. And so then they send him to go get the dog to like keep him preoccupied, Lucas. But now he was spiraling out there, and so he winds up banging on the door. They let him in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he gonna see something? Dr. Marie wanted her to stay overnight, but Lucas was not having that. He wanted her back at his house. So they get her. She wakes up the next morning, and he's watching her, and he's like, I could spend the rest of my life just looking at you. And he's like, why can't we just make it official? He's like, I know, a preacher, like, we can have one here within a few hours. Like, he was serious. She says, I got to tell you something. So then she tells him about the pregnancy and that she doesn't know who the father is. She doesn't remember what happened that night, X, Y, and Z. She said she had thought about giving it up, but after she heard the heartbeat, she knows she can't do it. He told her, I want you, but I can't do this. Like, I can't do the children thing again. So she said, okay. She packed up her stuff. She left. She gets to the carriage house. There's a naked woman in the kitchen. Naked man coming up the hallway. This is Connor, who is Octo, has a dog called Octo. So he was the 8th one to become a millionaire. One of the fraternity brothers. And Jessica is his girlfriend, and she's also a therapist. And so Connor was like, well, I'm going to go over there and knock some sense into him. And Jessica's like, I'm a therapist. You can talk to me. And so she starts talking. So Connor comes knocking on the door. Lucas thought it might have been Tess. And Connor's like, ripped him a new one. He's like, if you just said you would go to the moon and back for the woman, but you can't accept this, like, come on. And he also told him, you made a mistake. But that doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you could never be a father again, And he says maybe she didn't want to tell you until you were absolutely serious, So the fact that you were saying you wanted to marry her she's like, okay, I need to tell him. So he felt stupid. He felt like last night was so perfect and now everything is just gone to shit. Connor had brought Jessica home to meet his parents because he has plenty of other properties. So Lucas is just going to put him up in one of his other ones. She talked to Jessica, told Jessica everything, and Jessica told her the same thing that Marie said, which is you were drugged. Like, that's what happened. But she told Jessica she's not giving the baby away, but she was going to leave. And Jessica said, don't run. You shouldn't run. You do love being here. You shouldn't run. So then Jessica did tell her, you do need to tell your mother. So she calls her mother, tells her mother. Her mother was like, you need to come home. She's like, I'm keeping the baby. Her mom's like, we can decide that together. She's like, no, I've already decided. And her mom was like, well, you don't make the best, decisions. And she's like, you need to come home. Come home for me. And I was like, this sounds very selfish. And I see why she ran, because again the mother is wanting her back for control. You know, I'm not saying that her mother doesn't love her, but her mother definitely feels as if she needs to be controlled. And yes, she made a really bad decision when she was 18 years old, but how long do you have to pay for the mistake, right? Like forever? Are you always going to be that dumb 18-year-old? So, I still ain't stunned a mammy. Like, no. Um, she knows back in Miami, she doesn't have real friends there. Like, let's be honest, they left her. They left her at that fucking party. And I'm quite sure they could tell she was out of it. And they fucking left her. So those aren't your friends anyway. Yet she knows if she woke up tomorrow and she needed something, Sarah, Marie, they would be there for her without hesitation. And then she decides she's right. She is not leaving. She's going to stay. And I thought that was good because she's made this place her home. Yeah, she's only been there for like maybe 2 months or so, but she's made it her own. And it has really endearing people, you know? And I think it's a good place for her. Lucas went out back and was at the same spot where they had found the baby shoes. And Estelle came over, they talked, and she basically let him know you blame yourself for doing something that parents do every day. She said, do you know your kids know every quote from the movie? I think it was what is it? Toys? What's the one with Toy Story? He's like, no. He's like, she tells him, yeah, they knew every word because Stacy sat them down in front of that movie whenever she needed to put on her makeup or anything else. So she got mad at you because you did something that ended tragically that she does all the time, you know? And she also says, that there were circumstances around Tess's pregnancy, but it's not my place to tell you that. But again, she was telling him, you need to forgive yourself. So Tess is on her couch watching Downton Abbey, eating ice cream, and she's just going to let herself wallow for one more night, and then she's going to get herself up. Well, there's a knock on the door. She didn't answer. Doorknob twists open. It's Jessica. She comes in. She's like, get up. We got to go. She's like, I just need one more night. She says, nope, not going to happen. Let's go. So they get ready. No, she gets ready, and Jessica picks out her clothes. So she takes a shower, and there's a carriage outside. So it's a lot fancier than the normal winter taxis. And it seems romantic, and she's thinking, like, I thought this was like a girls' night. But Jessica was like, have fun. She's like, what? What's happening? So it takes her to the Grand Hotel. She pulls up. She sees Lucas in a suit. She's thinking, oh no, I'm not doing this crap again. He's not going to break my heart again. He of course, like, got in front of her. He's like, listen, I was stupid. I made a mistake. I love you. She's like, I come with the kid. That's not going to change. He's like, I know and I understand. And he got on his knees and he proposed. And the minister was there so they could get married. And she's like, okay. So then they have their wedding. And apparently a lot of the frat brothers were there. And they had a reception, really beautiful time. Now, they start telling one of the frat boys' stories in the epilogue. So the name of the series that it's a part of, but everyone's an individual story. But it's called Michigan Millionaires, which I didn't say in the beginning because I was like, oh, that kind of gives everything away. So that's the name of the series. So if you want to read about all the other frat brothers, it's in that series, The Michigan Millionaires. So that's how it ended. I really liked this. I thought it was really cute. Um, it's Christmas time, wintry. It all worked. Um, what did you guys think about it? What parts made you kind of ugh with it? Let me know. Drop down in the comment section and let me know. If you are in the market for a beautiful notebook or journal, I do have those available, and the links are going to be available down below in the description section. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. And if you have any book ideas, please feel free to drop down in the comment section and leave those suggestions for me. I truly do thank you all for your support, and thank you for tuning in to the Always Reading Book Club.